You know what's interesting? While millions of people are completely locked into a basketball game, yelling at screens, debating plays, and feeling every last second like it personally matters, there's another group of people watching the exact same thing and feeling absolutely nothing. Not hatred, not annoyance, just emotional neutrality. And if you're one of those people, you've probably noticed how confusing that feels to everyone else. Because for many fans, basketball isn't just entertainment. It's obvious. It's exciting. It's supposed to pull you in automatically. But here's the part most people never question. Caring about basketball is not a default human setting. Your brain is not naturally programmed to feel adrenaline when a ball goes through a hoop. That reaction is learned, shaped by psychology, identity, and how your brain responds to stimulation. When fans watch a close game, their brains release dopamine as if they are personally involved in the outcome. Psychologists sometimes describe this as shared victory response, where your brain borrows emotional reward from a team you identify with, even though you're physically doing nothing but sitting on a couch. For people who don't care about basketball, that emotional switch simply never flips. Watching others celebrate or stress over a final shot can feel strangely distant, almost like observing a language you understand intellectually but don't emotionally speak. And that difference often comes down to stimulation thresholds. Some brains crave fast movement, unpredictability, and rapid emotional swings. Basketball delivers all of that constantly. Momentum changes every few seconds. Scores shift quickly. Crowd energy rises and falls without warning. For certain nervous systems, that intensity feels thrilling. For others, it feels exhausting rather than exciting. Instead of adrenaline, the brain experiences overload. And when something feels mentally draining instead of rewarding, attention naturally disconnects. Another factor is group identity. Sports function as modern tribal systems. Teams create belonging, shared rituals, and emotional alliances that mirror ancient in-group dynamics humans evolved around. But not everyone forms identity through competitive groups. Some people build connection through creativity, learning, niche interests, or smaller communities that don't revolve around competition. So when basketball fans talk about "we won" or "we lost," people outside that identity structure may feel confused. Their brain doesn't attach personal meaning to the outcome, so the emotional stakes never fully form. There's also something subtle happening during the game itself. Basketball requires continuous attention. Plays move quickly. Strategies shift instantly. Commentary, crowd noise, and visual motion all compete for focus at the same time. For brains already managing modern overstimulation, another fast-paced sensory experience can feel less like entertainment and more like effort. Instead of relaxing into the game, the mind quietly checks out. And here's where the disconnect grows stronger. Fans often assume disinterest means negativity, but psychologically, difference usually just means the reward system isn't activated. The same way some people feel nothing watching golf, while others are completely absorbed. Your brain simply prioritizes different sources of engagement. And this is where things become more revealing, because the real difference isn't about basketball itself. It's about how your brain responds to competition, uncertainty, and emotional investment in situations where you have no control over the outcome. And once you notice that pattern, the reaction starts to make a lot more sense. What makes this even more interesting is that not caring about basketball often has less to do with sports and more to do with how your brain handles competition and emotional investment. Basketball is built around uncertainty. Every possession can change momentum. Every missed shot creates tension. For fans, that unpredictability is the thrill. Their brains interpret uncertainty as excitement, a controlled form of stress that feels rewarding. But not every nervous system experiences uncertainty that way. Some people naturally prefer environments where outcomes feel clearer and effort leads directly to results they can influence. Watching a game where emotions rise and fall based on actions completely outside your control can feel strangely unsatisfying. You are investing attention without agency, and for certain minds, that disconnect quietly drains interest. Psychologists sometimes connect this to differences in locus of control. The tendency to focus emotional energy either on external events or on personal actions. Fans are comfortable riding emotional waves they cannot control because the shared experience itself feels meaningful. Others instinctively reserve emotional energy for things where their participation changes the outcome. Neither reaction is better. They are simply different ways of engaging with the world. There is also the social layer people rarely talk about. Basketball culture often comes with expectations. Watching big games together, understanding player rivalries, reacting at the right moments, sharing excitement collectively. If that emotional rhythm doesn't come naturally to you, the experience can feel performative rather than enjoyable. You may find yourself watching the crowd more than the game, noticing how everyone else seems emotionally synchronized while you remain slightly outside the moment. That feeling is not rejection. It is awareness that your brain connects differently. Some people bond through competition. Others bond through conversation, creativity, or quiet shared experiences. And when your preferred form of connection doesn't match the dominant cultural event, difference can feel isolating, even when it is completely normal. There is also a simple truth we tend to overlook. Human attention is selective. The things that excite one person may leave another completely unmoved. One brain finds meaning in a last-second buzzer beater. Another finds that same emotional intensity in music, storytelling, learning, or solving complex problems. The expectation that everyone should feel the same excitement is actually more unusual than the difference itself. And maybe that's the real psychology here. Not caring about basketball doesn't mean you lack passion. It just means your passion is activated somewhere else. Sports happen to be one of society's loudest shared rituals, so opting out can feel noticeable. The difference in interest is simply how human diversity works. Some people live for the roar of the crowd. Others feel more at home in quieter forms of engagement that don't rely on competition or collective adrenaline. And neither experience cancels the other out. They simply exist side by side. So if you've ever felt strange for not understanding the hype around basketball, there may be nothing missing at all. Your brain may just be tuned to different sources of meaning and stimulation. And people wired that way often move through cultural moments as observers rather than participants, noticing patterns others don't stop to question. If this felt familiar, you're probably not the only one who experiences it this way. You can subscribe if you want to explore more of the psychology behind everyday reactions people rarely stop to examine. Because sometimes understanding why you feel different changes how you see the world around you.